What is up, guys? Today we are going to be making a video about Russia. And as somebody who's a minority and as somebody who comes from immigrant background myself, I do have to call out on discrimination when I see it. And I do think Russophobia is very similar to Islamophobia. Now, living in the West, I do believe that Russia, the nation Russia, and the people of Russia experience quite a lot of discrimination within Western media. So, yeah, I sympathise with the Russian cause. Because I do feel in the West, I do feel like the people who do get the most discriminated against are Russians, Muslims, and Mexicans. Those are the top three. A lot of people like to say, oh, the blacks still get it, and the gays and the Jews, no, that was back in the civil rights. We're talking about the modern era. And I do feel that the Syrians, Muslims, Russians, Mexicans, these are the people that get it the worst now, so we must help them. And we must stick up for other oppressed people. Not that I'm calling Russia oppressed. Russia is the second most powerful country. Well, from a nuclear standpoint, it's the second most powerful country. Economically, it's about third, because China then comes in first place, America second, and Russia third. So, not that I'm calling Russia oppressed, but I do feel Russian minorities outside of Russia do receive a lot of unfair treatment. And I do believe that Russia is a force for good in the world. They've managed to save Syria from ISIS, unlike America, who was funding ISIS, and were just wanting to continue these failed foreign policy strategies that have never worked before, which in reality was just secret, just to keep Middle Eastern countries poor. That's the entire reason. All for Greater Israel. So I've done a lot of videos about that, go check it out. So I do feel like the Russians are a good force in the world. I do think Vladimir Putin, he's a strong man. He's a strong man of a sovereign nation. He's a tough cookie to crack. He wants his country to be strong, independent, sovereign, and stable. And the globalists just can't stand that, because Russia does not have any Rothschild banking in it whatsoever. And Russia is one of the few countries out there that resist the neo-globalist New World Order. So that's why they can't stand Russia. That's why they hate Russia. That's why they want to do everything they can to sponsor colour revolutions in Ukraine, to cause Islamic extremism in Chechnya, to cause all these separatist movements to destroy the Russian nation. But it's not going to work, because Putin has a good strong foothold in Russia. And you may call him a dictator, but once again, if you're surrounded by NATO on one side and Alaska on the other side, of course that paranoia and fear that you're going to want to have a strong foothold to prevent collapse. So there's that too. And I don't think Putin is authoritarian. He does and locks up journalists. You see him speaking with the press all the time. He takes tough questions. So I don't understand. Fair enough, Russia is a very strict Christian country. They do have quite a lot of strict Christian laws, but it's nowhere near as bad as Saudi Arabia. So it's fair enough, it's not moderate in a Western standpoint, but it's very moderate from a post-1960s standpoint, if you know what I'm saying. So, however, and a lot of people these boomers, they grew up with the Reds under the bed, Cold War. They still think Russia is this big, scary Soviet Union, you know. If anything, America's venturing more towards socialism than Russia is. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, Russia's actually turning more conservative, and they're actually turning more capitalist, and they're turning more Christian, while America, well, before Trump, America started going the other way, with the Democrats pushing socialism and communism and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of ironic that after the Berlin Wall fell, both sides switched. And it's kind of weird because the leftists, they loved Russia back when it was communist, but now that it's Christian, it's capitalist, and whatnot, now they absolutely hate Russia, you know. Now Russia's the big... And a lot of people on the right wing, they love Russia now, because before it was the conservative Christian Republicans that hated the Soviet Union, you know. Back in the Cold War. Now all these like Trump tards love Russia and all that, but Russia isn't an ethno-state, okay? Russia has lots of Muslims in Chechnya. It has a lot of Mongolians out in Siberia. It has a lot of Europeans out in the European side. In Moscow, St. Petersburg, that side, European side, it has a lot of mixed race people down in the steppe. Vladimir Putin, he has to keep Russia under a civic scale to prevent chaos. So the Trump tards that keep saying, oh, we love Putin because he's a strong, independent white man of the strong ethno-state. Russia is not a white ethno-state. It's a mix of different races and cultures. It's one of the world's largest countries, so to call it an ethno-state is ridiculous. And there's a lot... Russia is very multilingual, multiracial, it's that big. So... yeah, so to the left and the right having these views on Russia is just absolutely stupid. But however, as bad as communism was, I believe when you had two opposing forces in competition with each other, they made sure to make good calculated decisions to prevent nuclear war. So, although the Cold War was a series of little mini proxy wars to protect each other's interests, it never blown out into full-scale warfare, you know, or a nuclear holocaust or whatnot. So, but after the fall of the Soviet Union, and after the collapse of the Berlin Wall, there was no strong side to regulate the other strong side. So it then meant America could play Roman Empire across the world. And the world has seen disastrous foreign policy, disastrous economic policy, just America going around the world, being world policemen, making a mess of the world, destroying once great nations and turning them into the dust. So, after the Berlin Wall fell, communism fell, America had no competition. Throughout the 90s, Russia went a bit bankrupt, you know, it's trying to get used to capitalism again. And then during the 2000s, it is opposing America, but it's opposing the United States in a more diplomatic scale, instead of in a proxy one. And now that the Russian economy has grown again, ever since it's been about 2 decades after the USSR, the Russian Federation is making its debut back into international affairs again. And what a way to start it off by eliminating ISIS from Syria and cleaning up the Middle East. So when everyone goes, oh, my Russia, and Russia hacked the election, and it's just these boomers and these neo-globalist oldies that are trying to bring back Cold War 2.0. It's not gonna work, you know. Russia had its day under the sun, it's had its golden age. It has no need to expand. It's already too big to expand anyway. Now, I'm not going to lie, when it did come to the election, I don't think the Russians did it, but I'm not going to lie here. Of course, Putin was going to want Trump to win. Of course, Putin was going to want a useful idiot in Washington. It'd be dumb not to think so, you know? Just to have an amateur in the Oval Office who's not knowing what he's doing and is pushing away all his European allies that might win them over into the Russian side. And of course, with now Russia being involved in Syria and Trump wanting to pull out from the Middle East, and Russia now, the Russian Federation now wanting to get involved into the Middle East. Of course they're going to want Trump in because it's going to be good for their interests. So I don't think they hacked the election, but it's going to be stupid not to think that Vladimir Putin did want Trump to win. Because he's just making America look bad, and in return makes Russia look more favourable and more trustworthy as an ally. So that's just my views on Russia. So see you in the next. Peace.